Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Jellyfish Journals. My name is Susie, and if you're here, you are here for the final part of my 2025 reading journal setup. I do have 3 other parts to this setup because I am a very slow journaler or journal decorator. So the next video, I promise, is the final flip through. So stick around for that if that's kind of all you're here for. Just hang on. That should be out Thanksgiving week. But I'm going to jump right in and start explaining what's happening here. I decided that I wanted to look through my physical TBR, my physical bookshelf, and go ahead and assign a book to each of the challenge prompts for my reading challenge. So I printed up the covers in black and white. I'm gluing them down for each month. And then as I read them each month, I will glue the cover in color. I've also printed them in color, and I'll glue those down over it so that as I go through them throughout the year, this page will become more colorful. So moving on, I want to work on my pages read and books read spread. And you'll see here on my 2025 kind of cover page, I've got those stripes going on. And I wanted to repeat those stripes somewhere else in the journal. That way there's some cohesiveness and some continuation. I penciled out a little plan at the bottom, and you can see which markers I'm using here. I know the peach is a little bit light, that Tombow number 850, but I did darken it up a little bit, and I darken it, on the plaids, I darken it even more where the colors cross over. And so all I'm doing here is making the same stripes that's on that 2025 intro page. And since this graph is just going to be a line graph for each month, marking how many pages I've read that month, I decided I wanted the pattern to go all the way across the back. And that'll add a little bit of color since the line graph part will just be a simple black line. I'll probably put a nice little thick dot for each month and then just connect it with a straight line. Keep it nice and simple, and then we'll be able to see which months I read the most pages in. Big shocker, it's probably going to be the summer months when I'm not working, but we will just see at the end of the year. And that's pretty much it for that page. Not too much to it. Then I wanted to work on the book's read page beside it. So another tracker where I'll just track how many books I've read each month. And since I used this wooden paper, I say wooden paper like it's made of wood. Well, I guess technically it's made of wood. Anyway, I use this paper that is decorated to look like wood. And I did that because on that 2025 page at the beginning of the notebook, I used that same wood paper with those stripes. So I already knew I liked how it looked together. And again, it kind of just brings that little bit of cohesion throughout the book. A simple way to make it look like your paper is going behind your graphs and charts is to just lay it over and then take an X-Acto knife and trim out those parts. So you can see I cut out a little bit of January right there and a little bit of that number 1. So it just looks like the paper is behind it. I went ahead when I planned this journal out and I penciled everything, and then I went through with a micron pen and outlined all of the black. I know some people decorate as they go. That method worked really well for me so that I could just decide as I was inspired to decorate each page. I don't do very well if I try to think too linearly. I'm kind of a hot mess when it comes to my brain. So I just kind of keep flipping through until something jumps out or I think I have an idea for something. And so now I'm just taking some of those stickers that I got on Amazon and just using them to add a little bit of fun to the page. So it's not too plain and simple, but also not too overpowered. And I don't think I used that sticker anywhere except for the new books, the books read reading log earlier in a different video. So I'm going to do the same thing here, put the sticker down and then just trim that little bit out so it's kind of behind the graph. And moving on, I think, just kind of adding some glue. Okay, it is time to tackle this quote page. So one of the regrets I have, I don't even know if it's a regret. I really struggled with how I wanted to decorate this page. And you'll see in the end, it does look a little bit more cluttered than I'd like. It's kind of a big mishmash of paper and washi and stickers, but I love it. I think it came out okay in the end, but it just, I don't know. I don't know if I know what I'm trying to say. I think what I struggled with was how to make it look aesthetically pleasing and somewhat cohesive and somewhat freeform, like a river might be. And you can just see me playing around a bit. I knew I wanted to use this pink, and I wanted to continue the torn edges like I did through the rest of the journal. Some of the things I felt pretty confident on, but I did struggle with how much of that white space to fill in. At one point, I had thought that I would have the words go over the paper. Then I had this thought that I would make the paper go around the words. I really didn't want anything to look too cluttered, but at the same time, since this page is not a tracker of any kind, I also wanted it to feel different than the rest of the journal. And so I just really, you're going to see me playing a lot, moving things, tearing things. Thankfully, I bought a couple of sheets of this pink paper. I think Hobby Lobby had a sale where it was like buy one, get one, or buy one, get one 40% off or something. And so I had a lot of paper to play around with. I do keep some of my larger scraps in case I need them. And just kind of kept working with it till I had something I liked. And I think here I'm finally settling in on it. I wanted just that pink to kind of be a little here, there, and everywhere. I don't use this pink paper too largely throughout the book. I remember I used it for the doors of my book awards. And I think there's a little bit of it somewhere else in the notebook. I'm drawing a blank at the moment. But I knew I wanted it to really stand out on this page. And so I'm going ahead. I'm committing, which can be a little scary. Even though it's just a glue stick, and I'm sure it would peel off. Obviously, if you've ever worked with paper in any capacity, and since most of us probably were in elementary school at some point, we've worked with paper, and it's pretty fragile. So once I glued it down, I just made the decision, hey, I'm rolling with this. It's happening. I've had a few people mention Lisa C. and that they're also fans of hers. And I thought this would be kind of a fun time to tell a cool little story about one of her books. So I typically go to thrift stores or little free libraries to get my books. I don't normally purchase books full price anywhere. But I had a copy of Snowflowers and the Secret Fan in paperback that I think I found at a thrift store. And my library does a book sale a couple times a year. And I went to the book sale a few months ago, and I saw a hardcover copy of Snowflower and the Secret Fan. And so I texted my daughter, who was at home, and I asked her, hey, can you go find my paperback on the shelf and text me a picture of the cover? Because I wanted whichever book had the prettier cover. And she texted a picture, and the hardcover that I was holding at the book sale was actually a beautiful cover. I mean, it was gorgeous. So I said, I'm doing it for $2. I'm buying this hardcover book. I bought the hardcover, came home with it, and opened it up for the first time, and it's signed by Lisa C. And I cannot just tell you, I can tell you how happy that made me. I've been to some thrift bookstores or used bookstores where a signed copy by an author, even if it's not like a current super popular author, and they will charge $18 and up, almost as though you're buying a brand new book, just because it's signed by the author. And I have turned down Lisa C. signed books, and I won't pay that much for a book just because it's signed by the author. Because, it's a cool feature, but it doesn't change the story. And that's what I'm obviously after. So to find that, and actually I think it was $3 for a hardcover, it just completely made my day. It was kind of like a haha, bookstores. I got this a lot cheaper. My favorite part is here, the stickers. Those definitely my favorite part. Decided to add some of that burlap paper so that it wasn't the wood paper on every page. Holy moly, pardon me, that is so embarrassing. I just burped, excuse me. I chugged a Diet Dr. Pepper at the end of the school day, and I have been regretting it all afternoon. Playing around with those stickers, I knew I wanted some of that green washi in there, and you'll see, I just kind of keep going for it, which if you've watched my other videos, isn't normally like me. You've probably noticed I mostly take things off, or I just stick to little bits, little accents here and there. And for whatever reason on this page, I was kind of just more. I did still have a few stickers left from that pack, and I also knew most of my pages were finished, and I wanted to have another place to put some of these. So I just went for it. And like I said, sometimes I still turn the page and I look at this and I'm thinking, whoa, Susie, what was going on in your head? And sometimes though, I look at it and I think, whoa, Susie, what was going on in your head? And it just makes me so happy to look at it. So kind of just going through, and anywhere there's a little bit too much white space, trying to add some of that washi so it's here, there, and everywhere. I think I said that already once. And alternating a little bit, whether the black grid's on top or the eucalyptus washi is on top. And trying to make it look as free and relaxed as possible. I think I add a little bit more right there, which honestly, that touch I do love. So that is my quote page, and pretty happy. Moving on, it's time to decorate this page, which honestly has freaked me out a little bit, which is why I saved it near the end. There isn't much room to decorate here, and it's very easy to overdo it, especially knowing that as I go through the year, these charts or graphs are going to be filled in with more color. So I don't want my decorations to overwhelm the page, because then it's just going to look, I don't know if garish is the right word, but overwhelming maybe. So I stuck with this burlap paper just up in the top, so the pages kind of go together, which I love because the chart or graph is obviously the same on both pages, even though it's tracking something different. And this sticker in particular was the inspiration for all the colors in this journal. I don't know if I've said that before. It's hard to tell in the video, but it has a little bit of pink, green, blue, yellow, peach. I mean, it really is beautiful. I decided to put it on some white paper and then fussy cut around the edges because the vellum stickers are a little bit see-through. So if I just stuck it on the burlap, you would lose all those beautiful colors that are in the sticker. So to keep this page looking uniform and maybe not quite symmetrical, but balanced, since it is the same graph on both sides of the page or on both sides of the spread, I decided to pretty much keep both sides of the decorations the same as well. I think in the end, it keeps it from looking overdone. It keeps it from maybe giving your eye too many places to wander to. So we've got those flowers on both sides, trying to sort of line them up a little bit. I know the burlap paper is not exactly the same on both, but I think if it was, it would lose that little bit of naturally torn feeling. So trimming that extra off at the top, that's one of my favorite things to do in a journal. It's so silly, but I just love that. It goes from being all raggedy to back to being a journal page. Adding just a little bit of it's kind of like khaki colored, really, washi that I got at Hobby Lobby. It was like in a pack. And adding just a little bit of that eucalyptus washi to the top. And I think I had a little bit more on the Genres Red side also, just to balance it out. I'm not sure why I wrote Genres Red so much higher than new books, but I did, and I'm rolling with it. So I just decided, you know what, there's more space underneath, so that's where I'm going to add it. And then I just sort of trim around it with a X-Acto knife, and really I think it works. Trim out a little bit more around some of those words that got a little close to the bottom, and there is my Genres Read and New Books tracker for next year. I'm not sure why this lighting looks so different. I am sorry about that. I have some thoughts on my lighting situation. These were all recorded before I started realizing that the lighting was weird. This does look really washed out. I probably had a fingerprint or some kind of smudge on my camera lens, and that's where that's coming from. So apologies for that. I'm learning as I go. And yeah, so for this one, this is my new book spread, and I wanted a place where I could log all the new books that I might acquire in 2025. Getting new books is so much fun. I always tell my husband, just looking at my bookshelf and seeing all the books that I have chosen and all the books that I intentionally put on my shelf, it still makes me so happy to know all those stories are just sitting there waiting for me. I really get giddy thinking about it. So I did acquire quite a lot of books in 2024 this year, as my love of reading was kicked back into high gear, full force this year. I've always been a reader, but this was the year I just was on fire. So definitely acquired a lot of books this year. And I don't like a lot of clutter. I don't like to acquire a lot of things. I'm pretty good about, if I have new things coming into my house, then I need some things to be leaving my house at the same time. So if it's clothes or shoes or even books, if something's coming in, I like something to be going out. But as I said, this year I ended up getting a lot of books, and I don't want to keep acquiring books at that same pace because I'm not going to have a place to read them all, or a place to store them all, and I'll never have time to read them all. I mean, it's not as if authors stop writing so we can all catch up, right? So I've decided for this spread that I'm going to have it go, I believe it goes up to 68. And this is the exact same tracker as my reading log. The only difference is, instead of numbering every line in the dot grid, I numbered every other line in the dot grid. And so each of these stripes is 2 dot grids high. And that way, I'm hoping it encourages me to just keep an eye on how many I've acquired and how many I was thinking was a good amount to acquire during the year. One of the ways I fix a mistake or something I didn't like is, you'll see here when I color that in green, it's got those little streaky marks. So I intentionally added more streaky marks to all of those headers. That way it looks like I did that on purpose. Some of those darker Tombow colors do that, and it's just one of the ways that I make it look a little more interesting and make it not look like, hey, I only drew 3 stripes to color this in. Now it's just a little sketchier, a little more fun. Oh, there's my cat. I didn't realize he popped in there for a minute. So using that light pink Tombow marker, and you'll see in the final flip through video, I do have a swatch chart. And so you'll see all the colors I used and I'm planning to use. It'll be on that swatch card. And I think I do hold it pretty slow. You can screenshot it, whatever you need to do, because I was not very good at making sure all that information was easy for my viewers to see. So I went ahead, colored every other stripe. I already had, I numbered all of the stripes. added the headers. I'll be writing down the title of the book, the author of the book, and where I acquired the book. And that's where I'll be able to also log where I got those books in that new books log. I think I just finished that spread, and I kind of marked out whether it was from Target or a thrift store or the library or a book sale or a little free library, things like that. So the idea is that this log will help me kind of keep track of those things. So now I'm just kind of cutting some paper. That similar trick I mentioned before where you can make it look like it's behind the chart. Since this was regular paper, I couldn't quite see through it. So I just made little marks on the paper and then cut it out and played with it until it would look like it was behind the log. So you can see there, I just sort of sketch it out a little bit, not necessary to be precise. It's easy to fudge, especially if some of your paper hangs off the outside of the page, because whatever hangs off the outside, you just trim it right off. So as long as it hugged the corners of the chart, I was happy. Going ahead, trimming some of that stuff down. Again, I love that part. It's even satisfying to watch. Like, just to watch it become clean again. I just love that part. Flipping through, I hope at some point I remember to add headers or the title, author, and where acquired to that last page. I might have to go look through my journal right now and make sure that's actually in there. I was starting to run out of stickers in that pack at this point, and so I'm having to be a little more choosy than I wanted to be with which stickers I wanted to use on this page. Always trying out things, just kind of holding it there to see. And I eventually decided I had enough of these smallish florals to put around there as long as I trimmed. And this is where you'll see I keep those little scraps because you can use them in other places. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's like a little leaf, or like that one I think I tried a few times and it just doesn't look like enough of anything. But there are some things I try really hard not to waste, like things like this that are unique or special or make it cohesive. And then there's things like washi tape where I want it to look nice. At some point, you can only peel washi off of a paper before it just wants to peel itself off, if you know what I mean. It will continually curl up on its own. I know I'll never finish a roll of washi, probably in my entire life. So those kinds of things, I don't stress too much about wasting it. But things like stickers and larger paper scraps, I will hold on to, because if there's anything I hate, it's when all I needed was one last little smidge of a sticker and it would be perfect. But alas, I threw them out. So I've learned that lesson. So here you'll see I even saved that little scrap. I think I try to see if it fits anywhere, but I ran out of enough straight edges to make it look like it was behind the chart. And as far as this goes, really it was mostly the left and right spread I was worried about, because that middle flap, Dutch door, will just flip back and forth so it will show. And moving on, I decided I was going to make the recommendations chart, I guess go sideways, go vertical. I guess it depends on how you look at it. But all of my charts and graphs line up with the book. They're all horizontal. I don't know if this is making any sense. For this page, you have to turn the book sideways. Hopefully that works. I could not figure how I wanted to chart my recommendations. And as I was looking through, I guess I go back to play some more. I think I found that stickers just sitting on my desk, and I was thinking, I should do something with this somewhere. And then I go play with that. Okay, well, now you can see what I mean when I said my brain is not very linear. Apparently, it was caught live on camera. I decided to go ahead and use that light peach Tombow because I hadn't used it as a feature color anywhere else in the notebook. So you'll see I'm kind of darkening it a little bit. It is a super light color. I know some people have said it's not showing up in the video. It's light, even in person. So a few layers of that and it becomes more of that peachy color. Anyway, I wasn't sure how I wanted to do the recommendations page, and I just decided, you know what? I don't see why. I wrote the word recommendations, turning the book sideways, so let's just make the chart go that way too. And it's going to stay cohesive with the rest of the book, but it also just makes that page look a little different. It just makes it a little fun. So no regrets about doing that at all. I'm really honestly glad I did that. It's kind of a fun page to flip through. Added a little pink header there. And the plan here is that whenever someone recommends a book to me, I just want to write down, good, that's helpful, the title, the author, and who recommended the book, whether I bought the book or acquired the book somehow, and if I've read the book. So all those things are on the header, and I wouldn't say I get recommended books a lot. My mom has similar reading tastes to me, and so she'll recommend books. I just finished The Butterfly Garden, and I think that was a recommendation she had for me. And I already actually had it on my shelf because my friend Alyssa, who I love to go book thrift shopping with, she's the one I think told me about it first. And I ended up buying it at a used bookstore. And then when my mom picked it up also and said she was reading it and I might like it, I was like, done. And it kind of ended up jumping the line because of that second recommendation. So moving along, and we're on to, I believe this is the last page I need to decorate. This is my name page. And since this is the very first page I'm going to turn to every time, this is the page that terrified me the most. I already had my name written there, and I already knew I wanted to use that box sticker. Since it's just sitting there on the scales, it's a weird sticker, guys. I mean, everything in me wanted to lay it on a flat side, but then it has that one angular side, and I had no clue which way that sticker was actually supposed to go. I feel like if it was sitting on a table, it would make perfect sense, but as a sticker, it just doesn't. So all that to say, I think because that sticker baffled me the whole time, I don't know why, but I just decided it deserved to be on this very first page. So I started by going through and looking at some of the papers that I used throughout the journal. And I just kind of wanted this to set the tone for the whole thing. So anybody who opens this journal is going to know that there's going to be some pink. There's going to be some eucalyptus leaves. I add some of that wood in there. I believe at the end I add some of that black grid washi. But I think in the end, this page does a really good job of just pulling a lot of those dominant pieces of decor out. I wanted to put that right there and cover up the Archer and Olive, but again, the stickers are kind of see-through, and I was a little worried that it just would still show through. I am loving this Archer and Olive notebook, by the way. I'm very excited to get another one. My current bullet/creative journal, I'm glad I didn't go that route. That just didn't look very good. I think I had one more of these box stickers, and I decided instead of peeling up the other one, I was going to just use the last one. This sticker pack I got had 3 of each sticker, which was awesome. And since this box sticker gave me so much trouble, I don't ever foresee myself using it ever again in my life. I would like to be done with them forever. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to use this third one right here. I'm not even going to try to peel the other one off. I forgot what I was saying. Again, there goes my brain. Man, I really don't remember what I was saying. Anyway, all that to say, my current bullet and creative journal is almost over, and I am considering getting another Archer and Olive for my next one. So there's that black grid washi, and there is my name page. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Have a great day, guys.